The first thing I had to do was take the PTO shaft away from the back of the transmission. So the transmission needed to be separated from the rear axle. And that's the only way that I can get all them gear shaft sets out of the casing of that transmission. So that had to be done first. This gear, I don't believe it's going back as far as it should. And the only way I can get this gear to slide out is I got to take this idler out. Because when I slide it, it hits that gear. So I need the idler gear. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to tear this out. So it's got ear tabs on it. Yeah. Ah! Hey, that part right there slides down into a collar. The shaft. Don't want to lose all this. Oh, it's way down in there. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. Is it moving? I got a hole in that. Now. Okay. And then this is the secondary counter shaft. There's a gear back in there. And here, and then down below. Those gears I put in. And there's a coupling down there. Way down there. It slides back and forth. And that's what allows it to go into high and low. This picture is the secondary counter shaft. The last set of gear sets that you see there in the picture of in the casing of the transmission. In order to get that reverse idler gear out, there's a shaft that is inside of that holding it in place. You can't slide that shaft out unless the secondary counter shaft is removed. So that's why the PTO shaft had to come out, and that entire housing that bolts up to the back of the casing of the transmission had to come out. And then it allowed me to get to the bottom gears of the main counter shaft that inputs into the rear axle, because there were bearings there that needed to be replaced. In the earlier video of part 1 of the dual power transmission, I was replacing the seal in that shaft that you see lying in the bottom of this bell housing. Now, in order to get that shaft out, I had to take the cover plate off of the bottom plate, that cover plate that holds the bottom shafts of the transmission. Had to take that out, had to take snap rings off and let it lower in order for that top main shaft to come out. That was the only way I could get it out. After all the shafts are taken out, this is the back side of the transmission that slides into the spline of the rear axle, the pinion. And all those pieces of that tab that broke off of that clutch hub drive for the planetary dual power, you can see them right there. There's just a bunch of debris of metal pieces. And I had to go in there and clean all that stuff out, and had to get a new bearing for the rear output shaft that goes into see the bearing right there? It's all boogered up, and there's pieces of roller bearing, taper bearings in there, and then get everything cleaned up so it can be reinstalled. Okay, the bearing that I'm working on is these two. this one, and then there's another one over here, right here. And those are for the secondary counter shaft and the main shaft that goes into the bell housing. And they're worn out pretty bad. Actually, one of them's missing. I don't know if I lost it. If I did, I don't know where it's at. So I've got new ones, and they are still being made, but Ford or New Holland says they can't get them anymore. But I did find a company that's making them still, and I got new ones. Thankfully to Garcor Supply in Marion, Indiana. So what I've done is I want to cup that bearing so that I do not lose any of those needles. And I've made a device that it'll slide back and forth away from them gears down below. Put it in there, and the shifter fork is kind of in the way. Well, I got to do it from up here. The way I made this is this one here will hit the outer edge of the bearing, and then the other one is made so that when I install the new one, I'll flip this over here, and it'll bottom out on the inside of this flange to make sure it stays square. That's how I'm hoping this works out. And I got a shifter friend. It's all the way back. On there, and it's just a basic thing made here. Got a nut that goes 11/16. I believe it's a 7/16 bolt. I don't have to have that. I could have had a 3/8 maybe, or even a 1/4 inch probably would have done it. All I'm doing right now is I want to tighten it up enough to where it stays together. And I may have to rotate this around a little bit so it matches this. I'm not a perfect circle, but I roll this around. I know it's going to pass. Hopefully it has no trouble. Tighten that up so it's holding the bearing, and let's see again what's going on. See how I put that in there? This way it's perfectly not going to hit this wall. And then I want to drive that forward. And I made this tool. See, it is 1 inch threaded, and I'm going to thread it right into it there. And I can see right now the camera tripod's in the way. I'm going to have to scoot the tripod sideways. Now I'm threading that in there a good way so I don't have to worry about it backing out. Can you still see? we're ready. There it goes. It loosened up a lot. There it goes. Make sure I ain't hitting the gear. It's not. There it's out. Alright, I took that nut off there and it comes off. See, it was the same size as the bearing itself. It might be off a little bit. I want to match that up and grind on it some more. Didn't get perfect, but it works. And then there's the, put an inserted piece in there. And if I'm not careful, see, there are the bearings. And see, there's the distance already. There's a bearing missing in this one too. You can see it right there. I don't know if you can see there or not. See how them are zigzagged right there? I'm missing one. I thought I wasn't. I thought it was the other one. That's why I got new bearings. For some reason, I don't know if somebody's been here before me, but I got two of them missing. But I'll keep searching in the bottom of the transmission, make sure I didn't lose them. When I put it back together, the lettering needs to be on the back side of the transmission. Oop. And made in USA. This lettering right here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it says B as in boy -5612-D. And it was made by Torrington. And then these are new. The new ones don't say that anymore, but it will have that part number though. And they are still made in the United States. So the numbers go to the back side. It's a flat. And then these are more rounded. They go on the front. Right out of the box. If I'm pronouncing this right. Koyo. Part number B-5612-D. And there's other part numbers there that relate to probably another tool or piece of equipment. And we'll see if these fit. They should. They got the part number on there. They did some miking and they're right on it. So shiny. Yeah, see where, I don't know if you can see or not, but this lip right here is holding them bearings in. They put them together and then they probably roll it just a little bit to crimp them in. Mine was wore out to the point where they were rolling, they were falling out. Those are tight. The other ones were loose in between a little bit. So probably wouldn't hurt putting a little bit of grease on these anyways. So I'll do that and then I'll pack that bearing in that tool I got. It's not quite there. I'll have to turn it around and hit it the other way until the back gets flush. What you just saw me do was press that cone bearing onto the main output shaft. It's on the bottom of the transmission going to the rear axle pinion. And what I did was got me the length that I needed for a press, and then this is the old bearing, and what I did was on the inside I honed that out with a flapper wheel, and it slips over that, no problem. But they've tapered this some so that whatever you put on there you can. But I went this direction so that instead of it pushing down on the cage, it presses onto the cone width of the tapered bearing. It's nice. It worked great. I'm sure they have made a tool for it, but this works great. Similar to working on rear axles, if you got a brand new set of bearings and you honed the inside of that piece out that I just did, and you press fit everything together so that they slide in and out to check for distance. But this distance is already figured out. There's no shims in it. It just presses straight onto this shaft. This is the main output shaft of the transmission.